Good morning. Anyways, and then it's size 1, 20.5. When we a little bit shorter, then a little bit too long. Mdays Scarf, the frill, and I really, it was such. It was those simple everyday tasks, the quiet, repetitive things that helped me find my way back into a daily rhythm after our long and much needed travels in the UK. Coming back home was not easy with everything happening here these days. It's been the hardest return I've ever experienced. Welcome and welcome back. If this is your first time here, my name is Moran. I'm a maker and homebody from Israel. In this little space, I share simple glimpses of daily life and slow makings, a quiet pause in the flow of every day for myself and hopefully for you too. In today's video, along with my usual daily life vlog, I'll be sharing a long chat with all the details about the Mdays Scarf pattern, how to make it, how to wear it, yarn information and more. You will find the pattern link down below. If you are here mainly for the tutorials, check the timestamps in the description box to skip ahead and jump straight into the knitting and crochet sections. Or if you'd like, you are welcome to stay with me for a bit of simple daily life along the way. There's nothing like an early morning sourdough baking to bring me back into a homemaking rhythm. My starter needed quite a few feedings to get back to full strength, reflecting in a way my own process of returning home. But she's okay now, and today's rye flour loaf is filling the kitchen with warmth and freshness. It's still pretty hot here, but definitely less humid. You can feel the slight change in the weather, especially on our daily evening walks. I'm so excited, the season is changing, autumn is just around the corner and I'm ready for it. My new Emma tea is blocked and ready. I started it a day before we left. I used bell drops and finished it in just a few days. It was such a quick work. Now it's completely dry after laying here for a few days, and I have the perfect Emma tea to wear this season. Yesterday I took out my coziest memories blanket and started knitting the next row. I'm on my 16th row now. This project brings me so much comfort, helping me ease back into life here and giving my mind a little rest from the constant stream of overwhelming news. After a short break, Monday makers are back and the table is full of Mdays scarves. My heart is overflowing with gratitude. I can hardly put in words the happiness and thankfulness I feel seeing in real life all those gorgeous Mdays scarves they made when I was away. This pattern is truly addictive. Thank you to those of you who have already discovered the magic of making it. And if you haven't yet, I hope you will join us soon in this joyful making. In just a few minutes, I will take you to my craft room for a long Mdays chat. It's the next morning and I had a restless night with very little sleep, but there is still so much I want to share with you today. I'm starting with some lunch prep just to make sure I have something healthy and nourishing ready, and then we can settle into my craft room for a long, calm chat about the Mdays scarf pattern. I'm preparing a whole chicken for a slow roast with onions, zucchini, and garlic, a touch of mustard, coconut aminos, and a splash of apple cider vinegar. I will season it with salt and pepper, add a spoonful of tallow and some mushrooms, and then I'll let it rest in the pot until I'm ready to cook it. Now I can enjoy a quiet coffee with my husband and a little knitting. Hopefully it will help me feel better after such a poor night's sleep. A few months ago, a midnight siren pulled me from deep sleep, and as we rushed to the basement shelter, my heart began beating so strongly, something I'd never felt before. I thought it would settle once I was back in bed, but it didn't. That night started a journey of heart checks, and after wearing a heart device for several days, I learned I have heart rhythm irregularities, something I'm learning to live with. The doctors think it might be also connected to menopause, but there is still more to understand. So I'm trying to be more mindful and consistent with my workouts routine to take care of myself. And if you noticed a new big ring on my index finger, it's actually a health device I got in the UK to track my sleep, heart, and overall health. Not something I'd particularly recommend to everyone, but after a lot of research, I decided it was worth trying. Back to the house chores now. I added a few of my homemade veggie bouillons to the pot as the cooking got started. These little cubes have been such a lifesaver since we came back home. I use them in so many dishes, and when the fridge feels empty, they are a real game changer. After a short boil, the pot will go into a low heated oven for about 2 to 3 hours, which gives me time to continue with my day. I'm still so tired today, friends, but I took a shower, got dressed, and even put on a little makeup to try and hide my tired face. But still, I'm also super excited and maybe just a little nervous to sit down with you in front of the camera for the Mdays chat in my craft room. So let's head there together. See if it's all straight. Good morning, everyone. Welcome and welcome back. I'm very excited to finally open up the camera and sit in front of the camera. Originally, my plan was to open the camera a lot earlier. We came back about a week ago. I thought I will open up the camera and chat with you a lot earlier, but yeah, life is life, and I don't know, I have to get back. Sitting in front of the camera kind of swing into it, back into it. I hope you understand me. But anyways, today I wanted to come here and mainly chat with you about my new Mdays Scarf pattern and give you all the details. I published it a few days ago and I wanted to come here, chat and give you all the details about it in this vlog. And yeah, we had a very exciting, almost a month of vacation in the UK. The first part of the trip, it was only Eyal and me, and then the kids came. The boys were here for about 2 weeks or so by themselves, and more or less by themselves. They had adults coming in and out, checking out for them, but they know how to manage. But this is also one of the reasons why it took me quite a while to get back into vlogging. I had to get the house back into the levels of, clean and organized as I like it to be. And fortunately also as Eyal likes it, so we both, it took quite a few days for me to get the house back into the state that I like it. Yeah, so in the first part, the kids were here alone. Eyal and me were traveling. And then in the second part, our 3 kids came and we continued into the second part of the trip, which we had all the 5 of us together. So in total for Eyal and for myself, we were almost a month out in the UK. We enjoyed every moment of it. We enjoyed every place we visited, every moment of it. Although in a few places it was quite touristic for us, but I took a lot of footage for you that I will probably, I don't know, maybe I will make a few vlogs of this, or maybe, I don't know, if I take all the footage, it will be a very long travel vlog, which I'm not sure will be clever to do, but it will be nice if you can let me know if you would like me to, if you would like to see the places we visited, if you would like me to edit a few like travel vlogs, or maybe in just a few places that we visited. We had a few days in each area that we visited. So it was quite a lovely adventure. It was a very much needed break for us to get away, although whatever, I had a conversation with a friend from abroad, and I just told her, and also with my friends when we were with our friends when we were out of Israel, we were talking about how difficult it is to get disconnected, even if you are very far away. You know, I will talk only from my voice, my personal voice, as I always do here in my vlog. I felt that my heart is broken wherever I go. If I go far away to the UK to sit by the nature next to a waterfall, which is the places that I love the most, to be in the nature, in the woodland, next to some tiny bit of water stream. Even there, in my highest peaks of the most beautiful feelings and the most beautiful state for my body and mind, even there, in those moments, I felt I'm heartbroken because of the situation in this area. And I mean, because of all the area. And I don't want to get into the details. The situation here is so difficult, and I just want to say that it is very difficult for me also to get into Instagram and to get all the hate in the social media, you know, in all the platforms. So I want to, you know, I want to get focused on being here with you today, but it was very hard to come back to this reality, and it took us, and it took me a lot more days to be able to get back into my life, into my routines, whatever, working routine, homemaking routine, household routines, mothering routines, everything. It was really hard for me, and I felt very weak and not strong enough to get until I could get back. And I can say that even now I'm not 100% myself. I think if you are not new here, maybe you can, you know, see it on me. I'm talking 7 minutes, and I didn't even start to talk about what I want to talk today. So today I'm here again, not yet feeling very comfortable in front of the camera, but we will work with what we have, because this is my mantra. So a few days ago I published a new pattern. This is the second pattern that I publish, which is a combination of knitting and crochet, and I just wanted to, you know, chat with you, give you a few details about it. I already said it. And this is maybe it's my third coffee, but I really need it, so I will have some coffee as we chat. I hope you also have something nice to drink, and while spending some time with me. Thank you, by the way. Thank you so much for spending some time with me, for being here, for watching, listening to me. So this pattern, I originally started to make a scarf for myself before I was supposed to go to the retreat in the Dolomites with my fibers, which you probably know I couldn't attend because of the war with Iran. But I had a lovely linen blend, the linen blend Fior de Lino yarn by my fibers, and I started to knit myself a scarf which I wanted to take with me to the Dolomites. I wanted to have something light that I can throw on, you know. And then I started to work, and when I shared it here on my vlogs, quite a few of you reached to me to ask if I will write the pattern, and I started to write the pattern. I really wanted to have something light crocheted with a tiny bit of knitting with a garter stitch. I wanted to be made mainly from double crochet stitches and from garter stitch in knitting. I am all into this mixture of stitches, of the simple stitches of crochet and knitting, and this is what this scarf is all about. So I thought, why not to try and write a pattern and also to improve things that I wanted to improve. And I started to make the second one, and I thought, yeah, I can try and write down the pattern, and then I realized that maybe the frill edging is not enough, not having enough volume. So I started to make a lot of samples, and I shared them with you. And when I was knitting the knitted edge, I took a lot of help out of this book, and I shared it, and many of you have asked if I can show the name of the book, share the name of the book. So this is the book, and I made quite a few samples until I reached what I like. And for the first Mdays Scarf sample that I knitted, just to make sure the pattern is okay and I can send it out to my lovely tech editor. First one that I made was this one, and in this one I used cashmere yarn that I had in stash. You can make it using fingering, sock wool, or DK, or even sport weight yarn, because I think the cashmere by Cardiff, I checked on Ravelry, and it's a DK yarn, but for me at first it felt like a sport weight, but I don't know. Anyways, you can make it either from fingering or from DK wool, which is great, and you don't have to have a lot of yarn, so you can use whatever you have in stash. I will talk about quantities in just a bit. And also, if you are here for the tutorials, you can check out the timestamps down below in the description box too. You can skip this section and go check out the tutorials right away, because after this section I filmed a few tutorials for you where I show you a few things, how I knit this knitting edge, because a few of you mentioned that you are following me and made all my crochet patterns, but you don't knit and you would love to do it. So I made a few tutorials for you for the knitting section, and I also have a little surprise because I also added tutorials for a crochet frilled version. So yeah, this is after this section. But anyways, I made the sample, wrote the pattern, and the pattern actually starts with a foundation chain using a crochet hook foundation chain. You have two sizes in the pattern. Both of them can be wrapped around the neck. I might wear one. Anyways, it's it starts with a crochet rows, and while you crochet the rows, you play around with a few stitches like single crochet and half double crochet and double crochet to create this shape in each of the points of the sides of the scarf. You create this, I don't know, I think you say wedge, I don't know how you say it, this shape. And after you finish crochet the rows, it's a very short and very quick project. You can do it in a few hours, I think. And you don't have to really count anything. You just have to count at the beginning and maybe at the end. But what I do to stay on track when I crochet, because I crochet many of them, I put like a bulb stitch marker, a safety pin. I put on every like 40 stitches. That's just to keep myself on track. I use this one. But you don't really have to count. I think when you get to do the pattern, you will understand why. And in any case, you finish with the crochet part, with the crochet rows, you crochet back and forth a flat scarf, and you have a lot of double crochet to make, so it's a very like easy breezy kind of work. And after that you frame the scarf with a single crochet round, just to, in which sample I can show it to you very clear. So you go with a single crochet around the scarf to frame it when you finish with the crochet part. One more thing that I want to mention: when you crochet the rows, you're supposed to work into back and forth, and you're supposed to work into the back loop. So we had a little bit of conversation here yesterday with Monday girls, because a few of them understood that the back loop is the front loop from the previous row, and I hope it makes sense. I will try to make it clear. In my original samples, I worked to the back loop of the original stitch. So if you look at the stitch from the right side, I worked into the back loop of this stitch, but while looking at it from the wrong side of the row, if it makes sense. It's the highest loop on the row. But a few of the girls here, a few of the makers, which were all of them, all the Monday girls, jumped into the making right away as soon as I had the pattern, the first sketch of the pattern. And a few of them thought that this is the front loop from the previous row. And both of the options came out really, really beautiful. And one of the makers, her sample came out so beautiful. She created like a deep ridge between the rows while crocheting into the front loop from the previous row. So I immediately went to the pattern and added a note that I think you can, if you like, you can also crochet the crochet rows into the back loop or into the front loop, and see what you like best. In my samples, in all the samples that I will show you here today, I crochet all the crochet rows into the back loop of each stitch, and so you can see the rows are flat, and they get even flatter after blocking. Anyways, this is size 2, so it's the longer size, and it's made out of fingering sock wool. So this version was the first. I crochet the first part of the scarf, which is the crochet part, using Cashmere by Cardiff, color 676, and all the 4 of the samples that I made are, all the details about the yarns are shared within the pattern. Everything, all the details and quantities. And this one was made, let me open up my making journal, because before we left I updated my making journal and put the first 3 that I made in my making journal. So this one is size 2, it's the longer size, and this is Ultimate Sock by Malabrigo, color Oro, and the main color, for the main color I used about 40 grams, and for the contrast color, which is the knitting frill, which is the second part of the scarf. I'm not very organized while telling you all these details. Yeah. So after you finish the crochet part, you pick up stitches with the knitting needle, which I will show you how to do after this section in a separate tutorial here on this vlog. You pick up stitches with a knitting needle, and on the first row you make increases, and then you start working back and forth. One row you work in ribbing, so a few stitches in knit, a few stitches in purl and knit, like in ribbing, and then on the other row you knit all the stitches. So on the row when you knit and purl, you have to be, you know, a little mindful about how many stitches you knitted and how many stitches to purl, but then you have, you know, like a slow, easy breezy row of just knitting. So in one side it looks like a garter stitch frill, and on the other side it looks like a ribbing kind of frill. So yeah, this was I think this was the third sample that I knitted when I was still at home. Yeah, this is the picture that I took, and I placed all the information in my knitting journal. And in this sample, I want to show you, this is the short version. So you have size 1 and 2. Size 1 is a bit shorter. It's not a huge difference, you will see in a minute. But I wanted I wanted to have the opportunity, the option to wrap both sizes around my neck, because this is the way I like it. And also if I wear it with, I will in a minute bring a cardigan or a denim shirt to show you. I like the way it looks when, you know, it's tucked a little bit inside a cardigan or a denim shirt, you know, a shirt with a collar. And with this denim shirt, let's look for a lovely angle. But yeah. With the denim shirt, yeah, this is the fingering weight, size 1. No, size 2. So this was the third one that I made, and this was made with the crochet part. The main color is Cashmere by Lang, color 780023. I don't know if you can see it, but it's this one. And for the cashmere size 1, I used about 35 grams of cashmere for the crochet part, for the first part. And for the second part, for the contrast color, I again used the same Alabrigo sock in color Oro that I used here for the main color. Yeah, I'm rambling. Yeah, and I still have a lot to tell you. So this was the third version that I made, and then I took some yarn with me when we went away. The pattern was written, testers were deep into the work, and my tech editor had the pattern, and I took some yarn with me to the UK to, as always, to knit socks. But I also took crochet. I made myself a bag with everything that I wanted to take, with some yarns and some hooks and needles. And I also took hooks and needles to maybe make another sample of the crochet of the Mdays Scarf, just because I felt that's what I want to do. But I said usually I knit socks as a travel project, but eventually I only wanted to knit more and more Mdays scarves. And I didn't have a lot of yarn with me for that, because you need more than bits and pieces. And I started to crochet. You will see, if I will edit a travel vlog, you will have the chance to see that I tried to make it with some sock minis that I had, and I didn't like the color, but eventually I found in the package that I took with me of yarns, I found this yarn, which is this one is Hedgehog Fibers color Pine, and I started to crochet size 1, which is a shorter size, and let me show you, which is the shorter size. By the way, the sizes let me give you measurements. So the sizes for the size 1 and 2, it's approximately 112 centimeters for the short ones, but we all got different, different length, because we all crochet differently and we have different, tension when we crochet. Although I gave the gauge and everything, my fingering gauge for the crochet is 20.5 stitches by 10 rows, but it's approximately 112 centimeters. And when we measure, we speak about the inner arch. When we measure the measurements for the pattern, we all measured this length, this arch, and not the outer, not the long arch, but the short arch. So for the size 1, it's approximately 112 centimeters, which is in inches, it's about 44 long inches. And for the size 2, for the longer version, for this size, we reached about 146 centimeters, which is approximately 57.5 inches for the longer version. So you can see it's this kind of shape, like a big moon, young moon. Yeah. And this is the length of size 2 in cashmere. This is the length of size 1 in cashmere. So you see, it's not a big of a difference, but let's see. Yeah, this one is just a little bit shorter. And the reason that I did it is that while I was knitting the original version with cashmere, I thought I want to have it using a fingering weight yarn, because cashmere can be quite pricey, and for us here it's not very easy to get. We have one shop that has cashmere, which is Yarn COIL, and these lovely people, they have cashmere classic, but not all of the colors. But anyways, I thought I want to have it using a fingering weight yarn. It will be much easier for a maker to make it using a fingering weight yarn, and I really liked this version when it came out, when I finished it. So I thought I will need to add another size, because if you use fingering weight yarn for size 2 or a cashmere weight yarn, the cashmere yarn for size 2, you get different, obviously you get different lengths. So this is size 2. The cashmere comes out longer, of course. And so this was the first sample that I finished on our UK adventure. I really loved it. And in some point, I'm not sure if it was at the Cotswold, that maybe in the Peak District, I came across a shop, and Eyal said that he needs to buy something, an adapter in the next door shop. And I said, I will take a look at this shop. And I realized that they have a little bit of yarn in one of the corners of the window display. And I went inside and I couldn't find the yarn. And I asked the lady there, where is the yarn? Do you have yarn? Carry yarn? I saw it in the window. And she said it's upstairs. So immediately I went upstairs and I found these gorgeous yarns. I found these gorgeous hand-dyed wool by Zakami, 100% fine merino fingering weight superwash, 400 meters in 100 grams, 437 yards. And I took these 4 with me as I was finishing crochet the first part of this scarf, which is made by hedgehog fibers in, I think, color pine. Started to look at everything that I had with me to try and make the frill edging, and then I realized that this will be the best option. So I decided to do it in the car. Good luck. Done. Car winding. It was a bit of a struggle, but not too much. And then I knitted the frilled edging using this colorway. I'm not sure what colorway, maybe it's here. I of course kept the label, but I don't remember where I kept the label. And by the way, this was the shop. This was the shop, and it was in the Lake District. Yes. Where is the yarn label? No. Okay, I can't find it. But anyways, it was lovely to work with. I immediately winded this yarn in the car, started to knit the frill edging, and I decided that I want a few rows from the frill edging. And by the way, you can choose if you like to make more or less rows in the frill edging. So for example, in this version, you have a lot, not a lot, but I think 8 or 9 rows of frilled edging. I will in a minute tell you exactly. You have 8 rows of frill edging, while in this sample you have 5 rows of frilled edging. So when I finished this, I immediately started to wear it. And by the way, the entire day, the entire trip, I was wearing my Mdays scarf every day while we were hiking in the nature, strolling city and towns, streets, and in museums, then in London, and every single day, almost every single day. And when I finished this scarf, I couldn't block it because we were on the way, and I immediately used it without even blocking it. I really was in love with the way it came out, and I also loved it crinkled and not blocked. I think the day after I finished it, we arrived to a hotel room, and inside the room there was an oval table that was exactly the size of this scarf. We had the perfect size table in our hotel room to block this Mdays scarf, so I decided to give it a go. It wasn't like usual blocking, but I took some water in a glass and gave it a good shape, the frill, and now it's completely dry, right on time, because today we are leaving this lovely, beautiful hotel. But immediately started to work on this sample. And this sample is made out of Aweta by Filcolana. Do I have a sample of the yarn? Yes, I do. I do have it here. And I didn't even mention, but the crochet part I make with 3.25 millimeter hook. This is what the pattern also recommends, and you have to check your gauge and see what you like. And if you can achieve gauge, and if you like the density of the fabric. Anyways, I started to work on this one immediately after binding of this one. And this is Aweta by Filcolana, color 977. And when I finished, I made the short version, but unfortunately, when I came home, I blocked it. I gave it a wet block. And again, I was very, very busy, forgot it in the water, and it got a lot longer than I wanted it. But again, so this is the short version, but with wet block. As you can see, it got a little bit too long, I think. But this was made by Filcolana yarn, Aweta by Filcolana, 3.25 millimeter hook, and then I picked up stitches, and for the frill I used minis that I had from row 1. It's a 10-gram mini, and as you can see, it wasn't enough, because for the frill edging you will need about 20 to 25 grams. And again, in this sample I made maybe 6 or 7 rows for the frill edging. So I used 1 mini until it was done, completed, and then I changed to another mini, another color. So yeah, of course when I went to to put on the cardigan to show you how I wear it, I said, oh my goodness, I didn't say thank you so much for all of you who already purchased the pattern. And yeah, I'm very, very excited. Thank you so much for making this pattern launching so special. I'm really, really thankful for you. So with this cardigan, I wanted to show it to you how I wear my Mdays Scarf. With this woolly cardigan I purchased in Uniqlo in London. I wanted to show you that I'm not wrapping it around my neck as I did with the others previously, but I put it like with a frill towards inside. So when I put the cardigan on it, it will look like, kind of like, you know, I don't know, a frill that comes out of the cardigan itself, and I really, really like the way it looks. So yeah, I just wanted to show you more of this wearing option, which I really love, and with today's outfit, really gorgeous. Can't wait for the weather to change a little bit so I can start using this lovely cardigan. So this was the 4th, and then I came home. In London, I managed on the last day to go visit a yarn shop I never heard of, I never met. It calls Beautiful Knitters. I got split with my family. They went to visit, what's the name of the neighborhood they visited? I don't know. I don't remember. Anyways, I took myself a day from, you know, my own adventures, and I realized that it's not very, it's a walk, but I can do it. And I walked to a beautiful neighborhood, to a beautiful shop called Beautiful Knitters, and I was completely surprised. I really, really, really love being there. They had a very like rich collections of yarns that I really love. I had a lot in my basket, and I came to the cashier with a lot in my basket, but then I was like, I took a moment and, you know, tried to be mindful of what I'm taking, and then I went out just with a few balls of cashmere. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. So,
Other speckled faces, but
it was a pleasure. It was such a lovely visit. If I wasn't afraid to fill up my studio too much with yarn, I think I would take more. But I was very mindful, I think. It was a very long walk here to get here, but it was definitely worth it. A lovely, lovely shop. One of the yarns that I took with me home is this cashmere classic by Cardiff, but I never knew that they have colors, special colors with naps. And in this shop I had the opportunity to see the full catalog of cashmere. It was pricey, and even in a higher price than what we can buy it here in Israel. So I just took this colorway, and I also took this colorway that I know that my local yarn shop doesn't carry. So this colorway is 683, and this colorway is 303. And I started to crochet when we came home a few days ago. I started to crochet my 6th, I think, yeah, this is my 6th sample. And then it was while we are I was already, I think, published the pattern, and I thought I will make another small version, and few of you started to reach out and to say you're not knitting, and maybe I can come out with crochet frilled edging. I have a tutorial coming right after this section for you with crochet frill edging. But as I was filming this tutorial and I was trying to crochet a few crochet edging for my Mdays scarf instead of the knitted frilled, I realized that it's endless. You can play around with so many crochet edging, and I am so sure that if you put your hand on this pattern and you don't know how to knit, or you don't want to knit a frill edging, you can come out with so many beautiful options for crochet edging that I bet I will see. I hope I will see in the future your crochet versions. But anyways, I included in the next tutorial, I'm going to show you how I made this option for crochet version. So this is the short size, the size number 1 of the Mdays scarf, and this is size number 1 with a crochet edging, and the crochet edging is a leftover neon sock wool, that 4-ply fingering sock wool that I had in my stash. I think maybe one of the Monday makers, we shared it, she gave it to me, or we shared came together. This is not the short version, this is even shorter. So here I cast on, I think, 212 stitches, so it's even a bit shorter than the shorter version in the pattern. So you can play around, and then in the pattern I give you all the information that you need to know if you want your scarf shorter or longer. And yeah, and I named it Mdays because in the time that I was making it, I was also thinking together with you about changing the name of my channel here, because I thought I need to change the name to something that reflects, you know, the journey that I've been through here with you. This channel grew to be more than just my crochet patterns or knitting patterns, and more than my, you know, yarny making. So I thought I was looking for a name for quite a while. You gave me a lot of advice, and you were walking with me hand by hand in this when I was looking after the right name for my channel. And so I thought to give this scarf the same name that I changed to my channel, Mdays, so to link them both together and to, you know, maybe try to stabilize the name changing, because I know it can be difficult for people when you change the name of your channel or of your business. And I'm talking a lot more than I wanted to, but I want to show you how I wear it with other options. You have tutorials coming right after this section. I hope you will give this pattern a go. It's available on both my Etsy and Ravelry stores, and you know, you always have to remember to say all the details, the correct details, and not to forget anything. It's a very, very addictive pattern. I can tell you, it's something that everybody here said that they immediately when they finish one scarf, they want to start the next scarf. In the pattern, I also give you instructions for wet blocking or spray blocking. I did both. Sometimes I feel the yarn needs wet blocking, but you need to be very mindful and not to forget your scarf in the water like I did and get it more and more elongated. I gave you all the details about the yarns that I used for 4 different scarves, in both sizes in fingering, both sizes in cashmere, so you get an idea. Hook information about, you can change the hook size if you need. If you make a scarf using a fingering weight yarn, you can use smaller size hook and get smaller size scarf. And also I give a lot of information about how to adjust the size. So if you want to make it for a kid, for example, you can cast on the right number of stitches. I gave the information of how you adjust the size in the pattern, and also about adding a contrast color like I did here. So you just have to, here I just made the two last rows of frill edging. I made it using a different color, a different yarn, and you will need a few grams, like something like 5 or 7 grams of the yarn. I knitted one row and then I bind off, and it's all written in the pattern. Yeah, you knit the rows, you frame. Don't forget about front loop and back loop that I told you. You have an option to do them both. In my samples, I only made my crochet stitches into the back loop of the previous row. You place markers on the last framing row. You place markers, and when you come to pick up stitches with your knitting needle, you pick up stitches from one marker to the other, and then you start to knit a few rows as you like of the frill edging. So just in case I didn't mention it, for the frill edging, you will use fingering weight yarn in both options. If you use a DK weight yarn for your scarf or a fingering weight yarn for your scarf, and you will need just about 20 to 30 grams for the contrast color, and you will knit the frill edging or crochet the frill edging using fingering weight wool, no matter if you use fingering or DK for your main color. And for this one I used sock wool by Hedgehog Fibers, and this colorway, let me see, it's written in the pattern, but this colorway is the Hedgehog Fibers color typewriter. One more thing about the crochet edging, the crochet frill edging, I think you will need a little bit more yarn because crochet takes a little bit more yarn than knitting. So just be mindful about this detail. Yeah. Yes, I think this is it. Thank you so much. I hope you love my Mdays Scarf pattern. I'm in love with it. We are all here in love with it. I can't wait to see your scarf, Mdays Scarf, and let's jump right into the tutorials now. So here I finished crochet the first part of my Mdays Scarf, and now I'm ready to move on to the next part of the Mdays Scarf, which is the knitting part. So finish with the crochet part and I'm ready for the knitting part. And now I'm ready to pick up stitches on a knitting needle so I can start knitting the frilled edge. So first thing that I want to do, when I crochet the crochet round, I do that with the right side facing up. But now to pick up the stitches on my knitting needle, I want to turn the work and make sure the work is with the wrong side facing up. So not just that the wrong side is facing up, but also that the long arch, which is the edge that I'm going to pick up stitches from, I want it to be far from my body. So this is the long arch, wrong side facing up, long arch far from me, and this is the short arch. And I'm going to pick up stitches from one marker, from one point of the scarf, right from this marker, using all the stitches that I just crochet on the crochet round, all the stitches all the way until I reach the other side of the scarf and until I reach the other marker, the next marker. So let me show you how I do it. So wrong side facing up and the long arch. I'm going to pick up stitches from the long arch. So for this I need 2.75 millimeter long circular needle. I'm not sure how long it's this one, I think maybe 80 centimeters. And I'm going to use for my frill edging fingering sock wool 4-ply, something that I had in my stash. I have about 20 grams here, which I think will be enough. And now I want to start pick up stitches. So I want to start from the very first stitch here with the marker, and I want to make sure that I insert my needle under both loops of this stitch. So the first stitch, the stitch with the marker, insert my needle under both loops from picking up from the wrong side. placing the yarn on my needle and bring the new yarn back through the stitch. So now the frilled edging yarn is attached, and it doesn't matter if you use your right hand English style or the continental style. I'll show them both. Now I want to go into the next stitch, inserting my needle under both loops of the next stitch, yarn on my needle and bring it back through the stitch to pick up a stitch through the crochet stitch from the crochet round. So next stitch, I just want to make sure you see how I insert my needle and make sure I have both loops of the stitch, the crochet stitch on my needle, yarn on my needle, and bring the yarn back through the stitch. So this way I go into each and every stitch along the long arch from one marker to the other side, so from one point of the scarf to the other pointy edge of the scarf. And let me show a few continental stitches. So I just want to make sure I insert my hook under both loops, yarn on my needle and bring it back through the stitch. And this way I pick up stitches along all the way until through each and every stitch until I reach the marker on the other pointy side of my Mdays scarf. And I will leave a link to the pattern down below in the description box for you. It's available both on my Etsy and Ravelry stores. And this is how it looks when I pick up stitches. So now I'll go ahead and pick up stitches all the way through each and every stitch until I reach the other marker on the other pointy side of the Mdays scarf. And now I'm at the very last stitches. And here I reach the next marker. So I want to insert my needle under the stitch where the marker is placed. And I can remove the marker. I don't need it anymore. And now I can start working my frilled edge. I have all the stitches from the long arch picked up. So depend on the size that you need, you will have all the stitches picked up. So you can see. And now I'm ready to knit the frill edge, and I will work the frill edging back and forth. So now I turn the work, ready to knit row number 1. And first thing on row number 1, I want to slip the first stitch purlwise with the yarn in back. So keeping the yarn in back, slipping the first stitch purlwise from left needle to the right needle with the yarn in the back. And next I want to make an increase and turn the next stitch into 7 stitches. So it's an increase row. So I want to knit the next stitch, keep it on the left needle and put the yarn on my right needle. So it's knit, yarn over. And then I want to once again knit the same stitch, knit, keep it on my left hand needle, don't let it drop, yarn over. So knit, yarn over, knit, yarn over, and another knit into the same stitch and yarn over, and then the last knit into the same stitch. So it's actually knit, yarn over, knit, yarn over, knit, yarn over, knit into the same stitch. So this was the second stitch. Next I want to purl 2, 1 and 2. And next I will repeat these 2 actions. So increase and make 7 stitches out of the next stitch, and then purl to the next 2 stitches. Let's do it again together. So into the next stitch I want to knit yarn over, knit yarn over, knit yarn over, and knit again using the same stitch, so I don't let it drop after knitting to the stitch. So inserting my needle to knit the next stitch, but don't let it drop, keep it on the left hand needle, yarn over, knit, yarn over, knit, yarn over, and knit. So 1 stitch turned into 7 stitches. Next I want to purl 2. Once again, knit, yarn over, knit, yarn over, knit, yarn over, knit, and purl 2. So this is the repeat for this row, for the first row of the frill edging. And I think this is the hardest kind of row, but this is it. This is everything that you have to do on this row. Let me show you how I do it using the English knitting style. So knit, yarn over, don't let the stitch drop, knit, yarn over, don't let the stitch drop and go off the needle, knit, yarn over, and again knit, yarn over, and knit. So this is how I turn 1 stitch into 7 stitches, and this will create the frill effect. Purl the next 2 stitches. Let's do another one together using the English style. So knit, yarn over, knit, yarn over, knit, yarn over, and knit, all to the same stitch. Next is a purl 2, so 1 and 2, and I will repeat this sequence all the way until I reach the last stitch, and we'll purl the last stitch. But this is, I think, the trickiest stage of the frill edging, so I hope this tutorial will help you make it. And don't feel too intimidated. It can look complicated, but it's really very, very simple to do. And once you get the hang out of it, you just roll it. And yeah, you just have to be very intentional that you count the right amount of yarn over, the right number of yarn over. So what I usually do is I tell to myself, knit, yarn over, knit, yarn over, knit, yarn over, knit. And after I have 4 knits, I know I finished. And if you don't feel very comfortable, you can count your stitches and make sure that between 2 purl stitches you have 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that goes out from the same stitch. But yeah, this is it. Next few rows are just repeating the same knit and purl sequence. So the next row will be only knit stitches and then knit and purl. The other row will be knit and purl stitches in the sequence that is instructed in the pattern. So yeah, I hope you find this tutorial of how to pick up stitches and start knitting your frill edging on the Mdays Scarf helpful. I will link the pattern down below in the description box for you. It's available on both my Etsy and Ravelry stores, and I hope you will enjoy this pattern, and I can't wait to see your Mdays scarves. So now let me show you how I add a crochet frilled edging to my Mdays scarf. Let me just first start by saying that I'm a left-handed crocheter and a right-handed knitter, but I guess you will watch what I do, you will see the principle, and you will manage whether you are a right-handed crocheter or a left-handed crocheter. In my crochet frilled, I want to start again with the wrong side facing up. I came out with, after many of you have asked for a crochet version, I came out with this kind of sample that it's works in 2 rows. So 1 crochet row and then crochet back the 2nd row. And the 1st row is a single crochet that I want to crochet on the long arch of the Mdays scarf. So I want it in the same position as I had it while I came to knit, to pick up stitches for the knitted frilled edge. And for the crochet version, I'm going to use a 2.75mm hook, same yarn, 4-ply fingering sock wool. And I want to start by just crochet single crochet stitches to each and every stitch here, and I want to use 1 loop only in this case. So again, I want to be with the wrong side facing up, long arch towards the far side, and I want to start at the same stitch where the marker is placed. I will crochet from one marker to the other side. I guess if you are a right-handed, I will start from this side, which is the left side. If you're a right-handed, you will start from this side, which is the right side, and you go towards this direction, but I will start here. So I want to insert my hook under only 1 loop, the one which is the closest to me. So if we have 2 loops here in each stitch, I just want to use the upper one, the one which is close to me. So this is what we call, if we look at the stitch from the right side of it, it's what we say the back loop. But I will use it from inserting my hook from when the work facing the wrong side of the work facing me. So I want to insert my hook into this loop, the upper loop, the back loop of the stitch, and put the yarn on my hook and bring it back through the stitch, chain 1 just to attach it, and then I'm going to single crochet in the same point, in the same stitch. So this is the first stitch. Now, just to save myself time, I will work over the yarn end. You don't have to do that. If you feel it's too much for you, that you can just go back and weave it in later, but I will work over the yarn end here. And now my frill edging yarn is attached and my first single crochet is done. I want to make a single crochet all the way in each and every stitch to the back loop only until I reach the other pointy side marker, so from one marker to the other. And I want to make sure I don't split the yarn because of trying to insert my hook only into 1 loop of each stitch. But this is how I do it. So simply crochet single crochet stitches in each and every stitch, back loop only of each and every stitch, all the way until I reach the next marker. So whatever number of stitches you have, depend on the size that you chose to make, or even if you made any modifications to the length of the scarf, your Mdays scarf. But let's see. And I want to keep the stitches quite loosely, not too tight, because I use different hook size from the hook size that I used here. It's a smaller one, just as I did with the knitting. You can try and use different sizes and see what you like best, but when you crochet only to 1 loop what happens is that you leave this lovely line of loops that left. And as I make progress here and I crochet the single crochet stitches into the back loop only, I want to just make sure that my work is flat and not getting too tight, or because I'm working with a 2.75 millimeter hook, which is a bit smaller than what I worked here, and this yarn is finer than the cashmere that I worked here. I just want to make sure that the work stays flat. And if you see that your work getting tensed a little bit and getting like it's not that flat and relaxed, you might want to go up with your crochet hook. Maybe use a 3 millimeter crochet hook and see how it reacts. But you just want to be very mindful and keep your work flat and relaxed. So now I have just a few more stitches to go until I reach the next marker, the next pointy edge of the scarf. And this is the last stitch, and I want to insert my hook under the back loop only and single crochet. And now if you take a look, to be honest, as I worked on it, I felt that I could easily finish my scarf here. I really, really like this clean, graphic, sharp contrast color edging for my Mdays scarf. So I'm not sure I'm not going to make myself one which has only this kind of edging, which is so, so delicate. And you can see this fine line of front loops left. So yeah, I really like the way it looks with only this kind of very delicate edging, just this delicate contrast color line. Yeah, but we will leave it for another scarf. Now let's see how I continue. And next I just want to turn my work. So I just want to place back my hook, and I want to make sure that I insert my hook so the working yarn is at the front side of the hook, just like so. And now I want to turn back and make the second row all the way back using these single crochet stitches I made on the previous row. So I work all the way back into the stitches. And first thing that I want to do, first let me show you how I turn. So if this is where I ended the last row, now I want to turn just like so. So first I want to skip the first stitch, which is this one, the one that is right under my hook. And in this row, I will also work to the back loop only of each stitch. So I want to insert my hook into the back loop only of each stitch. Again, in this row as well, I want to skip the first stitch, which is this one right under my hook. And then I want to make 3 double crochet stitches into the next stitch. So, and using only the upper loop, only the back loop of the stitch. 1, 2, 3. Next I want to make a triple crochet into the same stitch. So yarn over twice, insert my hook, yarn over, go back through the stitch, yarn over, go back through 2, yarn over, go back through 2, yarn over, go back through 2. So this was a triple crochet. And next I want to make 3 more double crochet stitches into the same stitch, and I'm using US crochet terms. And next I want to single crochet into the next 2 stitches, again only to the back loop of each stitch. And next I will repeat this cluster or scallop that I just created here, I will repeat it in the next stitch. So 3 double crochet, 1 triple, and 3 double crochet into the same stitch. So 7 stitches into the same stitch. Let's do the triple together. Yarn over twice, insert my hook, grab a yarn, go back through the stitch, yarn over, go back through 2, yarn over, go back through 2, yarn over, go back through 2 stitches, loops. And next I want to make another 3 double crochet stitches into the same stitch, and next 2 single crochet stitches, 1 in each of the next, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, into the back loop only, and again a scallop to the next stitch. So I have a 3 stitch repeat, scallop or frill, I don't know how you want to call it, and to follow by 2 single crochet stitches. So 3 stitches in total in the repeat to create this frill, or I don't know how you want to call it, but this is a version that I came out with after so many of you asked a crochet version. And this is how it looks after repeating the stitches I just showed you. And this is how it looks from the side that I work on. So this is the right side and this is the other side. So this scarf doesn't really have a right side or a wrong side. It's just a technical detail that I use in the pattern to make sure you are located in the right place. But if you like this line of front loops left, you can start the crochet edging first row. Instead of starting it holding the work with the wrong side facing up, you can start it from the right side facing up. So you will get this line of loops in this side, but I really like the clean meeting between these two textures and these two colors. So yeah, I think it's only one out of million other options of how to make edging, crochet edging to the Mdays Scarf pattern. I'm so sure you can come up with so many other beautiful options for edging for the Mdays Scarf pattern. I will leave a link to the pattern down below in the description box for you. I hope you will enjoy making it. I hope you will give it a go, and I hope you find this tutorial helpful. Yeah, I'm trying to find the words to end up this section. Thank you so much for listening to me rambling. Thank you guys. Bye. This one was doing quite a good job while I was chatting with you, and it's completely melting, very easy to break apart. I'll give it just a little bit more in the oven and then it's ready to eat.